human body operates on its own rules. And many of them are outside of, most of our conscious control. It's kind of freeing, isn't it? Really. Knowing that your hair is growing right now, that you're doing it, but you don't have to really think about it. Your fingernails. All these things going on. Your heart beating, your digestion, your breathing, all of it keeping you running. And you don't have to think about any of it. It's all taken care of for you. However marvelous, magnificent your body is, and it is, make no mistake, at this stage you most likely have a lot of conditioning that you're working with. It's the case for the overwhelmingly vast majority of humanity at this time. If you have something like a herniated disc, the muscles around that area will be incredibly tight, just the nature of the beast. We suffer far more in our imagination than in reality. It's like a child imagining snakes under the bed and like a dragon in the closet. The fear and the anticipation of pain evaporates when it's seen really for what it is. When you pull your head out from the covers, you see the dragon is just a coat, and the snake is just socks. So think of the body like, it can help to think of the body like an overprotective mother. It's doing the best it can, and sometimes it's important that the boundaries are set. Because really your body cares about you so much that it just doesn't want you to be in pain. So you learn to associate pain and lack thereof through continued experience with certain movements. These become associated with our movements, and this turns into being attached to the way things look like. So that's what we're looking at doing in the coming lessons. Discovering first where the existing boundaries already are, and then second, discovering where they can be expanded. Now again, I'm very excited at your willingness to explore the limits of your being, and I wish you the best, absolutely, the absolute best in the lessons to come. I'm going to start off with an exercise. It's called a spinal scan. So take a deep breath, clear your mind of thoughts as best you can. Find that central guiding presence that exists independent of your worries and concerns, and do a quick body scan. Surrender any and all interest in thoughts and pay attention to that which remains. And bring your focus of your attention to the spine as a whole, and feel free to move around a little maybe to get a good sense of what these often ignored deeper parts of your body feel like. So sink the focus of your attention into your spine. Maybe you have a certain location that you're dealing with today. Don't ignore the rest. The entire spine is what we're after. It's not just in isolating one spot. Spine is an integral unit, just like you and your entire being. So you want to care for all of it, not just the squeakiest hinge on the fence. You may have noticed during the asana sequence in the previous session that as you held a posture that little jerks or twitches or contractions come up as you attempt the pose. This is natural. This is expected. It means that you're engaging directly with your body-mind system as you release small amounts of conditioning your body has stored. You can consider these to be signals. Like, hey, good job. Like, in essence, you've already began rewiring your central nervous system. Congratulations. But don't seek that. Just notice that it happens. And directing your awareness to different parts of your body is essential to understanding the relationships ongoing in your body-mind as I speak, as you listen. So to best make use of this often overlooked capability is surface level knowledge, again, of anatomy as called for. So as I'm reviewing these, tune into the deeper aspects of your spine. This will be the spinal scan. You're just going to go up and down. And with practice, bodily awareness, a good body scan can quickly bring attention not just to things that are, like, say, wrong with your body, but things that are right too. So again, take a deep breath, clear your mind of thoughts as best you can. Find that central guiding presence. Relinquish any and all interest in anything that really thoughts had to offer you. And allow the focus of your attention to rest from your crown, going down your spine, to your neck, to your shoulders, to the back of your rib cage, and then lower to where it meets the hips. Now, as I continue to speak, and as the components of each section of the spine are brought up, and as you maybe follow along with your hands, you can direct the focus of your attention to each relevant location. Identify what each location really feels like internally, and assess each location's current state. What's it feel like? First and in many ways, most at-risk section of your spine is a group of 5 vertebrae called the lumbar vertebrae. These tend to blow out most with ruptured and herniated discs, and any one of which can be paralyzing in their intensity until you learn how to move around and with the injury rather than against it. The second part is the thoracic or thoracic vertebrae, which is the focal point for most postural issues we see in the modern day, between undeveloped back muscles and forward head tilts and rolled forward shoulders that don't track and that pop all the time, some of which you may notice at play within your own physical body. Many of the consequences of modern living are on full display in the mid-back. For example, the muscles that support the head as it leans forward connect with thoracic vertebrae just below and between your shoulder blades. And because of social conditioning, most of us have learned to keep our tummies tucked in and breathe inefficiently through a rib cage that is itself restrained by an inflexible and overly activated or tense thoracic cavity, reducing the amount of oxygen available drastically. These kinds of issues are endemic. They're easily addressed. We just, for the most part, don't bother with it. Now, the third and final part is the cervical vertebrae, which tracks whenever you turn your head. Most neck problems will be in the form of, say, a pinched nerve and are a result of muscular tension or physical trauma held or carried elsewhere in the body. The source of the pain is often not where the pain is felt. The physical postures experienced in this series will allow you to understand this relationship and then dive deeper into engaging with and directly addressing this trauma. There are also the sacrum and coccyx section of the spine, which are important enough in their own way, but our focus will be on the lumbar, thoracic, and the cervical sections, because these are the ones that we can really work with most accessibly. Now, there are ligaments extending all along the entire group, and between each, there is a little sac of fluid called the intervertebral disc. This disc provides a level of flexibility that allows the spine to actually move. Bone on its own, it's incapable of doing this kind of movement, so this intervertebral disc is crucial. It also serves as a sort of weak spot if the muscular that supports it is stressed in the wrong way or cannot provide the necessary support. That's what happened in my case. It's the case when someone lands too hard after jumping and ruptures a disc. Now, luckily for us, all of these issues are easily addressed with only a simple few movements done with intent and practice for a relatively little period of time. So let's get to it. We're going to start with an asana sequence focused on forward bends. Now in session 2, awareness, you learned about the enhanced body scan. As the body scan. So while performing the asana sequences from here on out, just remember to take a few minutes of silence before your practice, really drop into your body. Do a brief body scan and stabilize your breathing. Focus your attention on the sensations of the breath at the nose. This can be a bridge to allow everything else to fade in the periphery. You don't want to ignore everything else entirely, but just strongly intend to redirect the focus of your attention to your breath whenever distractions come up. You're not trying to fight, you're just allowing your attention to rest naturally. Now, in this way, you prepare yourself for the asana practice through the breath as a bridge. Now, throughout the practice, you're going to apply the body scan techniques and the locations of the tension. Continue to breathe and notice the sensations of the breath at those locations. Right? Intend to release any pressure that felt, but don't shout at yourself internally like, release, like you're commanding an army. Just notice the breathing and breathe through any locations of tension. You're not forcing anything. As you transition through the postures from one to the other, different locations of tension will be made available to you. You'll notice different spots that are kinked up. You'll always have more to look at. Don't get caught up on any single location. You're flowing from one to the other, simply acknowledging and allowing things to be. Now, safety tip here, right? If you have a ruptured disc or a similar injury, forward bend done without respect for the injury will exacerbate it. This is happening because the habitual movement that has long since been a part of your body's makeup is forcing your spine to bend in a way that squishes the gel sac between your vertebrae in a way that might really hurt and injure you even further. So in the case of a ruptured disc, and any sort of forward bends, simply consider that you may have, for example, been trying to reach the ground by stretching your back, when in fact your hips and hamstrings are just really, really tight. And they are the things that are restricting the movement of your lower spine. So if you continue to move in the way that you've habitually been moving, you're just going to make it worse. That's what this is all about. When one door closes, another opens, and you will very quickly come to understand there is always another way to move. You've always got another way. Physical postures done in the exploration of possibility reveal so many open doors. I respect the level of maturity that brings you to this series and expect that you will display the same level of maturity in assessing the current limits of your capabilities without going too far into the late and exacerbating your own injury. Understand that all conditioning can and ultimately will be transcended, either now, soon, or eventually when you die. Even the idea of conditioning as such will not really be something that you really need to identify with eventually, especially if you continue on this path of making the unconscious conscious. So do what you can, take it slow, don't hold yourself back from experiencing the full possibility of your unique, magnificent self. Namaste, my friend. Welcome back. The theme of today's class is conditioning, the stored tension, let's say, in the body-mind. Now, this class today, this sequence, is about forward bends. An important thing to notice about bends, it's not just about picking things up. It's about posture. It's about being in center, being in alignment. And so, with this in mind, I want to encourage you to rather than simply doing as I do right now, to be aligned to what the nature of your particular condition is, and to observe the limits of your capability, to allow yourself to breathe into whatever tension or pain might arise, whatever conditioned responses your body has, and then to expand your perspective from that as you exhale and release the tension that is held elsewhere, allowing yourself to realize the freedom that is always there and already there in your body. You're just not noticing it. So this is a powerful method that I want to bring up, that you can bring into play during this practice. So you're already familiar a little bit with the body scan. It should be getting better. There should be a continuing flow as we do this practice. And what you want to do is activate your cardiovascular system a little bit. Start taking conscious control over the dilation of your blood vessels. And when you find a place where your body says, no more, or maybe there's a little bit of pain or something, you can't bend over far enough, then stop, respect what's being brought up by your body. Take a deep inhale, hold it, 2, 3 beats, maybe 4, 5 beats, and then as you exhale, expanding your perspective from that little space of localized tension or pain or conditioning, allow the freedom elsewhere in your spine or in your body to reveal itself. You're not going to go too fast with this. You're not going to go too hard, because we're going, after all, at the pace of your breathing, which should be slow, steady, even, deep, and long. So we'll start by establishing the breathing. Take a few deep, long breaths. What I'll do is the entire sequence all at once so you can see. Don't do it yet. And then I'll talk us through it, and then we'll do it together. So, we start in the standing position, here in Tadasana. And from this place, establish the breathing. Forward fold, down into Marjorie Asana. Back into downward dog. Up. Sitting back. Standing up in base. You don't need to be turning around the way I am doing it. I'll be doing a little bit slower. That's just more available for me right now. So Find yourself standing in Tadasana, palm tree pose. Take a few deep breaths to steady here. Feel the weight of the earth pressing up against your toes. Happy toes, activate your arches. Do a deep body scan from toe to crown, finding any sort of lingering tension, perhaps in your hips or your shoulders. You can move a little bit to release this. And what you're going to do is go into a forward fold. Instead of aggressively pointing your shoulders back and everything, just slightly intend your shoulders back, just a little bit, and your tailbone to the back wall. And then like there's a string, drawing your heart forward, keeping your spine long as you inhale. You exhale and draw your heart forward and down, like so. And maybe this is as far as you go. That's okay. It's perfect. So as I roll my shoulders back, point my tailbone back, spine long as I inhale and exhale, my goal is to go hands down. I might need to walk my hands down my thighs a little bit and to soften my knees. This is perfect. Whatever your body needs. You might need to walk all the way down to the calves, squatting down to reach, just with your fingertips. This too is perfect. This is where your body is right now. Whatever you do, make sure that you are taking it at the speed of your capability, at the speed of your breath. And if you find yourself getting caught up, again, stop. Pay attention with your inner gaze, with your mind's eye, if you will. And then take a deep breath in, hold it, and exhale gently with the Ujjayi breath, allowing the rest of your body's tension to relieve itself, to release. Get caught up, let's say. Deep breath in, hold it, and then back down. Once I'm stable here, then I can go one knee at a time. Take a deep breath. One knee down, like so. Another deep breath, and as you exhale, the other knee down. Now this is Marjory Asana. We also call it cat-cow, tabletop. And from here, there are some powerful ways to stretch your spine. And depending on the nature of your condition, you will want to check some of these out. So there is the cat-cow, which is like this, where you inhale and you point your tailbone and your shoulders back to the sky, and you bring your navel down as you inhale. You exhale, rolling your shoulders forward, tucking your tailbone, bring your navel in towards your spine. Inhaling up. Gently rolling down. Another powerful method is to go up as you inhale. This is a little bit more of a twisting, keeping your hips even, and then exhaling down, keeping your one hand down and rolling your other shoulder to rest upon that. If you have a lower spine injury, I encourage you to wait on that. You can do it on the other side as well. Now from this place, once you're comfortable, this is a very good way to deload any sort of tension on your back. This is a really good way to start warming up your spine early in the morning as well. And the most common mistake is to start pushing yourself a little bit too fast, too far, and then you just rupture your disc even further. So stay away from that. Pay attention to yourself. Care for yourself a little bit more than that. On your next inhale, you would bring yourself anchored, and then exhale, bringing your heels to the ground, pressing out with your shoulders and your palms, and lifting your tailbone to the sky. So you're forming a triangle. This is Parvatasana, mountain pose. They also call it downward dog. So exhale, like so. Most common mistake in this pose is having your feet a little wonky. Find what works for you. You have 4 anchor points, each hand, each heel. Maybe you need to do this. That's okay. You just want to bring your tailbone high. There's a slight inversion. And then you bring yourself back up into tabletop pose. And then you stand up in base. So if you remember from last sequence, you'll sit down, because we're all comfortable sitting down, of course. One more time, it looks like this, but instead of going from standing, we're just already here in tabletop. So from the outside, you lever your inside knee down, sitting back down. Now we stand back up in base, so we can get back to where we started, up on our feet. So from the other side, outside foot down, levering ourselves up like so, even weight across a little tripod, and then the fulcrum of our inside leg, squatting back up into palm tree pose. So one more time, so that you really understand the sequence. You can do it at the pace of your own breathing. So inhale, spine long. Exhale, grounding ourselves. Inhale, forward fold, heart down, walking hands down if necessary. All 4 limbs on the ground. Tabletop pose. One deep breath here, and exhale into Parvatasana. Inhale back down. Sit down. This might be a little tricky, but you're working your spine again to twist a little bit more in a slightly different position. Take it easy. Take it slow. There's no rush. And then stand up on the other side. So, my friend, once you can do all this with the pace of your own breath, in one smooth, continuous motion, not stabbing yourself in certain places, maybe you got a knee injury, or maybe you have a shoulder problem, then you will be ready to go on to the next lesson. I believe in you, my friend. I trust you. I trust you know yourself better than anyone else. And I'll see you in the next lesson. Have a beautiful, happy day. For homework today, you're going to get a piece of paper or notebook, something to take notes on. You're going to take notes on the nature of any sort of injuries or any sort of tension that you found. As you explore the motions, where do you feel pain? Describe it using any sort of words that come to mind. Burning, shooting, dull, aching, tight, sore, whatever other words come to mind. Draw a vertical line to represent your spine, and then connect the words to where on the line you feel that particular sensation. Burning, spine, here, boom. If you don't feel pain, instead feel a lingering tightness or tension, do the same thing. Find the right words. If you are afraid of doing a certain movement, how close can you get before the fear sets in? Observe that fear. Is it a fear of pain? Stay in that position for a minute, maybe 2. Continue to breathe. You might begin to notice some small tremors, which are either fascial tissue releasing tension. Could be something else. And when you perform these stretches, do you feel localized tension? Is it global? Keep all this in mind. Take it note as much as you feel comfortable and whenever you feel called to do so. Move at your own pace and don't rush anything. Just remember, you have all the time in the world. Thank you. Have a beautiful, happy day.